Good evening, Final Fantasy IV free enterprise fans. We have ourselves the last of our 14 round of 16 openers. Team Feymarch, Khobahi, EizanTayama, Dustygriff, and Invenerable. My name's Vitasia, and I'm joined tonight by Neon Gray. How we doing tonight, Neon?
Not bad. I'm coming here, with a bit of a cold, but, we've got a real barn burner of a race coming up. I could not keep myself away. So, here I am, ready to see a really exciting race.
Absolutely. We have ourselves a Tella start from the get-go. Best exit mage money can buy. We're going to see, C3 flags. We're stuck with Tella, so we're going to see what we can do with this magic today. Will we have the famed Tella Edward start? Who knows?
This should be really interesting to see, because I think, more than any other character that you can get on a C3, Tella really influences what kind of routing you're going to take. We're far more likely to see ordeals. This pretty much guarantees it since he needs it, so it's going to be really interesting to see, is that lengthy play going to be worth it for anything besides making the character viable?
You know what? With Tella, you always have to start thinking different strategies. Ordeal seems like a solid play, and our runners are off, so we're going to see what key item and what our second character is going to be. White Mage, Porum. But we got a Sand Ruby as well.
That's a really interesting start. Porum, she's not the best white mage, but she'll certainly get the job done. And another early character pull, a free character pull right from the start, that's not bad at all.
No, in fact, I would be hard-pressed to find anyone who would be complaining about this start right away. Tella isn't great, but, he has his uses, and I think all of these runners are currently capable of it. We'll get to duck into Baron Inn here directly to see what our another character is going to be almost right away. Let's see who gets there first.
Well, we do have some characters changing to the team colors for Team Feymarch. It is optional because it is a bit eye-searing, so not everybody's going to deal with that. And I'm seeing Sid in the Baron Inn, which, not bad.
Hey, Sid is the best agility anchor we could possibly hope for. He can push out some decent damage, but most importantly, his HP pool is just amazing.
Yeah, and, if we can get him early, that hit point pool will be put to good use.
Absolutely. So he also starts at level 20, so he can dish out some pretty decent damage. I did see some Artemis arrows also in the bush, so we might even have our white mage throw on a bow and dish out some damage early on.
Yeah, that's really exciting to see, especially, if they're held for Sid too. He can really bring the pain if you give him a bow.
Absolutely. And Invenerable is going to be the first one. Oh, there is our first duplicate Sid. So we're going to get Sid earlier than we thought we would, but hey, I'm still going to go with it.
Yeah, no complaints there, especially, he's actually one of the characters who is one of my favorites to have this early because of that high starting level. The other two characters are not great for these early bosses. They tend to crumple with any sort of damage at all. But with Sid and a lot of decent equips for him to be found, this will do very nicely for him.
Absolutely. And we do see Invenerable actually picking up some Cure 2s in the item shop from Kaipo. So Kaipo Grandma can be a little bit difficult to get around after you get in there, so he's just exiting out and flying away to victory at this point in time. Otherwise, the rest of our runners either made a quick pit stop and missed to pick up the items there, or are on their way to Kaipo and then first to Damsian.
This is always a good check. You can get some really nice stuff out of here. Nothing too inspiring on the top level, though. elven bows for sale and mute daggers in, I believe that's Kaipo.
Mute arrows. I didn't see a mute dagger, but I did see mute arrows. But yeah, those are going to be
mute
put...
arrows, yes.
Yeah. Those will do work, absolutely. They do decent damage on their own, and if you happen to have a mage type that you're up against, and several of the bosses are mage type, they will do considerably more damage. So that's a nice pickup there, and not really sacrificing a whole lot because early level Palom is not the greatest anyway.
Yeah, I mean, and again, Sid can use bows. He will put those to use as well.
Yeah.
This is a great find. It could be a great early edge for Dusty.
So Infen, kind of following traditional routing at this point, going to stop off at the Antlion Cave first. Finds a Moonveil right away. That'll be nice early. And a Silent Staff. This is some very nice things very early on here and a Drain Sword, because why not?
Well, as we've seen recently, the Drain Sword can certainly do some jobs. I won't say it'll do them well, but it'll get you there.
I mean, sure. I mean, it's not a Drain Spear, so but it does affect your agility if you need to equip a sword on someone pre-Zero Miss to negate some agility there.
Or it will let you solo Zero in 28 minutes, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, do check out the recent VODs. I believe it's the most recent race, or the one before that. That was certainly a sight to behold. Otherwise, this looking like a pretty generous start. Not a lot of exceptional pieces, but some solid workhorse items being found.
I think that's a good way to put it at this point in time. We do see Eizan going right over here to the Fabul Gauntlet, gonna test his mettle over here, while both Khobahi and Invenerable are in Antlion Cave. Dusty had taken kind of a detour over to Troya. We'll see where he ends up going after this.
Oh, and it is Dark Knight Cecil in Fabul, which fine. He's not hitting very hard. They can sit through this no problem, and it's a good boss to have out of the way on an early spot.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Invenerable finds the Octomammoth at the spot in the Antlion Cave. This is kind of an interesting spot for Octomammoth. Just because the graphic always weirds me out. You're not in water, man. Where are you coming from?
It definitely does have... It's an interesting effect to look at. But doesn't seem to be putting up much of a fight. Shouldn't be too hard for Invenerable there.
Nope. Dustygriff does end up going to Mount Hobbs and shows us a duplicate Tella. We'd only need one old man, so I think we're gonna take our time and go elsewhere at this point. And a White Lance for Invenerable. I didn't see what Eizan picked up.
And Eizan picked up the Magma Key.
That
and
is
an Ogreaxe.
I was gonna say, that is slightly more exciting than a White Lance.
Well, Kane could be in this seed, and if he is, that White Spear will be very nice. But at this point, we've got 3 out of 5 found. Chances are not looking good for that.
Invenerable is getting ready to face his disappointment up here as well with the duplicate Tella.
And that takes out Dark Elf too, that's disappointing to see too, because that's an easy boss in a lot of hard slots. So seeing him there is, that's one easy boss out of the pool.
Yep, it is unfortunate. The Dark Elf, once he goes into his dragon phase, becomes susceptible to things like stop and hourglasses and things like that. So it is rough to see that at that spot. I did see some hourglasses look like in Fabul, along with some cabins on the looks like, which is great for our runners.
Yeah, that'll be very handy.
All right. And looks like Eizen's going to take a stop. He's going right to turn in this magma key. This is a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it plays out.
But you know what? It's a move that I like. Getting that magma key opens you up to a lot of basically free checks early on. So if there is something important there, getting your hands on that early that's what you want to be doing. Meanwhile, Dusty is preparing to get his Disappointment Sphere, and Khobahi and Invenerable are both getting that magma key imminently.
All right, so let's see, where do you think Eizen's going to go? Just because with the whole world opened up to him at this point in time, there's still a lot of different shops he needs to hit. He doesn't necessarily have the levels right now to do much of anything except for a couple checks in the underworld, I get the feel.
I guess it's probably the Fame Arch check first, then, oh, no, he's doing shop checks in Tamra. But the way I like to see it usually, and the way I'm expecting to see, will be Fame Arch, then the Sylph. Because you do get the free chest there, you do get the knowledge check of knowing who the bosses are, and if that key item in the chest in Fame Arch is the pan, you want to have that done before you go into Sylph.
Absolutely. All right, so Khobahi picks up his magma key. Dusty is just about to start his. It is worth noting that in this particular format, only one of these runners is going to be eliminated from the tournament tonight. The 3 of the 4 will go on to play another match later, so you only have to not get last place in this particular run. And really what that means is most runners are probably going to play things a little bit safer than they may have normally in the past, just because you don't want to make a bad mistake to put you all the way in the back.
Yeah, I'm expecting a lot of conservative play from these players, which, this is a time for it. Nobody wants to be the one to lose. And I did notice, Eizan picked up a Siren in the Tamra warehouse. It'll be interesting to see if he puts that to use early, because that can give a great edge.
I can absolutely see both Sid and Porum could absolutely use the levels right now. And he's cleaning out these other treasure chests that are in here. There's a Stardust, a Heroine. Ooh.
Now that is an exciting find right there. And a Charm Rod. That will come in handy if anybody wants to make Tella use black magic, or if we find a proper black mage.
And a tiara. Oh, there's a legend sword, so it's a key item. A kind of not great key item with these flags, but a key item nonetheless.
And there's the Cure 3s that are guaranteed under these flags in the Fame Arch, which is kind of an inconvenient place for them, but what can you do? They're also not going to be as necessary because we've got a white mage from the start, but they're good to have all the same.
We do. Oh, and looks like Invenerable ends up finding coffins in the Mysidia item shop. So those are instant death items, and they are really effective against a lot of different enemies. They can make some enemies and bosses free if you have enough of them. It looks like he picked up a handful before he's going to the underworld himself.
Yeah, that's another great find. Traditionally, you use them with eggs, for a grind, but yeah, they will take down bosses. And Khobahi is ascending ordeals.
I like this play from Khobahi because you're going to have to bite the bullet eventually anyway for Edge, or for Attila, so go for it. Might as well. And he also picks up another Heroine robe and is going to also be doing power bump strats for Porum. And
we're seeing Yang and Bagan at in the Feymarch bosses, which, ooh.
Those are the opposite of free.
Yeah, I mean, if Cecil's in this scene, Yang can be made to work, but that's not a good time.
No, it's not. And we see our first boss up on Ordeals is going to be the CPU units. This isn't bad. It's not great, but it's not bad.
It's okay. It's a very annoying boss. It's one of the... There's never a place where this boss is good. It's an okay place for it. And Eizan is using that siren, is going to grab that load of XP, and we'll see where he goes from there.
Wow, Forum dished out some damage with that. And lots of levels gained.
Seeing some good spells coming in, we're getting Berserk, we're getting Exit, all of that.
I'm told Dusty also picked up some coffins, and he's going to run in. He's going to check this Barret in spot. Now, he's not checking it, obviously, for Sid. He's going to just power through Bahamut. Bahamut's not bad here. I mean, this is about 1,000 HP spot, so you can get through it pretty quick.
Not even 1,000, it's a little over 300, so yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
The real trick will be how bad this is, which is some sort of lunar boss. It's the Deluders, and we have a Moon Veil. Everything is going to be fine.
He's not using the Moon Veil, though. He's Zeus Raged.
You don't necessarily want to use it immediately, though, because it will wear off. Not necessarily as quickly with the Moon Veil, but, you have time to apply it if that's going to be a thing. We're doing some healing first. We'll see if it's necessary.
Using some Cure 2s right now. Sid can take the hits right now, which is nice to see. And there's the wall.
But he timed it right. He's probably counting his damage. This is a 4,000 hit point slot, split between the two of them. Cure 2s do pretty predictable damage, so this is fine. We're seeing a water hag up on Mount Ordeals, too.
Absolutely. So, another free fight here for Khobahi running up here. Eizan did go up and talk to Sheila after speaking with Young in the underworld, and was rewarded with a tower key. So, it'll be interesting to see if Eizan follows that breadcrumb.
My guess is probably not right away. You usually want to do it in tandem with the tower boss. And that spot can be a bit rougher, so you want to get some levels on these characters before heading into Bebel.
Oh, and Dustygriff finds the hook in Barret. So, with his second Sid, who will be not doing anything, he gets the hook. That doesn't open up, that opens up Eblin Cave. That is the site of another character as well as another shop. Do you go ahead and do that?
That's interesting. With this party, maybe? Because we've seen 2 duplicates already, it's more likely that we are going to get someone who isn't duplicated here. And it looks like he is going to go check that out.
I mean, if anything, you want to check the character and the item shop for sirens. King and Queen Ebland are in the crystal area. This is the one that's 1,000 HP. That's right. I'm getting my people crossed. So this is kind of a free fight here for Khobahi.
Again, not a boss you want to see there because it's free. The slot is free no matter what.
Oh, and chat's letting me know that's where the crystal was.
That's very interesting. Because again, as we were saying right at the start, nobody's gonna pass up Ordeals entirely. So everybody's gonna go there. They're gonna go there relatively early.
Well, it's funny because Khobahi is the only one who's actually gone up there early. We kind of presumed everyone would with that Telestart just to make Tele useful. Oh no. Oh no.
We have a fourth character. It's Edward.
You mean we have 0.5 of another character?
I mean, he could use Cure 3s with good timing on the hide. It can be made to work. But, oof, that's rough.
Here, I mean, we're looking at something that could be very, very, very rough for our runners right now. We're facing down a seed where, I mean, Tella doesn't ever hardly get to the point where he can survive Big Bangs. Edward never gets to the point where he can survive Big Bangs. Even Porum takes some effort to get to the point where she has even over 2,000 HP. We're looking at a very, very skushy party right now.
The thing is, this is actually really interesting because with Tella, we have a means to really easily get people to the high enough level where you will actually get those characters up to a point where they can survive a Big Bang, even an unnerfed Big Bang. So you can do that very easily enough with D-Machines. The real interesting thing to me, what I would like to see, is nobody finding the darkness crystal in a reasonable amount of time. I want to see what happens if they get the pass. Because then we're going to be at a very interesting point in terms of having to grind these characters up.
I mean, this is one of those interesting party setups that is the reason C3 exists. You can't go around hunting for, your perfect edge cane with Rosa support setups. You can't do any of that. You have to just kind of take what you get and make it work.
And I mean, all of these players have been practicing hard, and they've been practicing hard with really marginal parties. So I expect that, they're all ready for this situation. It's not the one they want to be in, but I'm expecting they all have a plan. I'm just curious to see, how well it's enacted. And we do see Eizan and Invenerable on ordeals right now, kind of high-fiving on CPU. So they'll be getting their crystal in relatively short order.
Yeah, the rough part is Dustygriff's the one who hasn't really even made a move towards Mount Ordeals yet. You gotta think he's going to at some point. He's still making efficient checks, so he's not losing a whole lot of time, especially since we don't have, the access we're looking for quite yet.
Yeah, this is just an order of operations thing, I think. With Tella required, you are not going to pass up ordeals forever. And as long as you hit that up at some point, you're good.
So we have 4 of our 5 characters that we have knowledge of. What do you think the next character is going to be, and what do you hope the next character is going to be?
It's hard to tell. We've already gotten a really good lance for Kane. That's somebody who I think everybody that would be what's best for everybody. I think, just because that will give he's got a solid stat line. He can do work with that, and we're not hunting for equipment. The real trick, if we get somebody like Cecil, who we haven't seen anything good for, he can be a great character if you are kitted out for him, but we've seen nothing for him. So at that point, all he'd be doing would be sitting there mucking up everybody's agility setups.
This is true, and I thought about that. I've also considered Rydia just because of her horror. I mean, she just compounds the horrible issues that you have with HP scaling with the party, where the only one who would have much HP would be Sid until the very end. Now, it almost commits you to the reflex strats for Zeromus if you can get through to that point.
I think that's fairly likely no matter what at this point. We'll see how it goes.
There's one thing for certain. Thank you, runners, for running this seed, because that means it's not in the pool of seeds when I want to go run one.
Yes, these people are all graciously running this seed, so we don't have to.
Alright, so Dustygriff's in the underworld. He just finished up checking out the Fey March. Both Eizan and Invenerable. Man, look at that sync. Look at that wonderful, horrible, neon, multicolored flash sync.
Yeah, that's, there they go, and now we're gonna see what the both of them do with it, because they are in basically identical positions right now.
Absolutely. So, where do you go? What do you do? At this point in time, we haven't had a whole lot to lead us around. I think the one item that we have that might be a guiding light for those two would be the tower key, which we've gotten from Sheila, and they're both there. I think Eizan has a few more levels because he did make that one omelet.
Yeah, that gives him a few more options. Again, like, at this point, I think Tower would be a little bit rough. So we'll see where he goes with that. So I know Invenerable as a player does not like to hit up Dwarf Castle like Eizan is right now, which is, you know, an obvious slightly lower level than the tower. But it looks like Eizan himself is just doing a shop check here. We'll see if he actually does anything else.
Question in chat, have they found sirens yet? No, and that's kind of the million-dollar question. What are these guys going to use for their grind? You know, we're hoping that they find sirens, or maybe we're just hoping that we get the darkness crystal and they're going to have to do a D-machine grind at some point. There are a lot of different options that they can do at this point in time, and nothing's exhausted at this point. So, patience, Kimosabe.
Yeah, like we have found a siren, which is very useful for the position that all of these players have found themselves in, but not for sale. And I think we've seen all non-moon shops at this point. Looks like there is a free boss in Dwarf though. It is one of the either the fight from before Yang or the Kaipo guards, and it is the two Baron soldiers.
Yep. Meanwhile, Invent's checking out the first couple bosses. They found Golbez in the Optimum spot, so it's nice to see that he's out of the way and we don't have to deal with him. And the Mist Dragon was Volvala's, so no freebie D-Mist fight for you, Invent, but thank you for checking those. Makes us feel good.
And you know what? Those are fantastic bosses to have out of the pool, because knowing you won't ever have to deal with Golbez is great.
Khobahi making the same plays over here, getting his knowledge.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not all that surprising, because we don't have a lot of options right now in this seed, at least not good options. So they're trying to find if there's any sort of edge they can get.
At this point, I wouldn't even necessarily be surprised if we saw some of the runners go over to Eblan Castle and use those treasure chests with some hourglasses to grind a little bit. Those aren't bad if you're really struggling with this early game.
Yeah, I am not sure if they'll do that though. Like, I know it's a play I like, but I'm not a fast player, and it's not a check that I usually see made in this high level of play these days.
Alright, there's the hook for Inven. We'll see if he goes and gets his epic bard.
And Eizan has gotten through the guards, so we'll see if there's a fresh character here or not.
Oh, he's got a lunar boss to contend with. D-Lunars is already off the table too, so we'll see what he has. No, another duplicate Sin.
Oh no. And it's Ogopogo, which you could do worse. In that slot, there's not a lot of hit points there. There's no good place to run into Ogopogo, but, you know, it could be worse.
Yeah, it could be a whole lot worse right there. Knowing that Ogopogo, I mean, his big wave damage is set. It's going to be set at a percentage of the full health of your character. So as long as you keep yourself healed up, you should be relatively good to go. And with Tella and his full spell list, it shouldn't be terribly difficult by the time that you get Sid and Form to be able to dish out the damage you need.
Yeah, so, you know, as spots running into Ogopogo go, you know, you can do a lot worse. And Eizan is through. We'll see if this has paid off.
Yeah, Khobahi does not quite have the levels and did not have the hourglasses, so he got kind of wrecked by those Baron guards, unfortunately.
And it's interesting that they're causing that kind of problem, because they are susceptible to coffins, and they have been spotted for sale. And I like how, you know, you can just see it, Invenerable just pausing on, looking at Edward, thinking about it. Does he want to do it? And he decides yes, eventually. Ooh, that's the Earth Crystal in Dwarf.
Earth Crystal is going to be nice. Not only does it lead to another key item, but 2 character spots. I mean, getting both of those to be duplicates, I don't know the percentages on it, but you're more likely to get a decent character there than anything. And we see Eizan making a beeline for it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a total sense-making play. Just because, you know, we've ruled out a lot of possibilities for duplicates. I think there's only 1 or 2 characters who appear in triplicate. We found one of them, so it becomes a lot less likely. My guess is we're probably going to see a duplicate Edward up there, and hopefully our 5th character.
Duplicate Edwards make me cry. Don't make children cry, please.
There's gotta be more than one of them somewhere.
Nitsky points out something, you know, technically the Giant of Babel does hold a character, and it very well could be there.
There could be our 5th character there. At this point, it's seeming kind of likely. However, there's no character that appears only once. There's always at least 2 of every character. I think it's 3 of 2 characters and 2 of everybody else.
Eizan also clearing out the treasury. Lots of really decent treasure. Samurai arrows, that's not bad. Another coffin. Another
coffin, a gold apple, which will be very welcome here.
Couple dragon whips I saw. If we end up getting Rydia, dragon whip with heroin would make her pretty decent, all things said.
Yeah, and if we don't find her, that will sell well, which will do well for buying up all the various items that we're gonna need to get this done. And Invenerable biting the bullet, realizing that yes, Dwarf Castle is a play. I know this has got to be killing him inside, because he does not like Dwarf. But he's going to do this. He's not going to like the duplicate Sid, but that Earth Crystal at the end, that's going to be very nice to see. And Khobahi has pulled the chest, the stalemate chest.
Yep, using those hourglasses there, doing work there, getting some good experience here, I think, and that's important.
Yeah.
Right now, in this particular part of the seed, they're running around trying to find experience in order to do anything in the underworld. So gobble it up while you still can, I say.
Yeah, a lot of good equip for Kane. I'm seeing that was a Gungnir, which, again, not really needed with that White Spear we found, but this is a seed that wants Kane. I'm assuming we're not going to find it.
It does look like Eizen's opening the treasure chest, hoping to find that trap chest. In large part because the trap chest holds the best gear.
Yeah, like that's a play I like. It is a pull at the T4 pool, which, you know, you can get Excalibur, you can get Adamant Armor, you can get all kinds of good things. You can also get absolutely worthless things, but, you know, it's the thought that counts.
Now there's the Blizzard, and there Eizan goes with that win there. So we got Khobahi picking up, and he gets an Earth Wrench. I don't think that's better than the Poison Axe that he currently has equipped.
That one's actually interesting. There have been some decent checks on the numbers of spreadsheets and all kinds of math done. It's actually pretty solid if you've got accuracy concerns, which Axes and Sid usually do. It's not a bad find. I'd be more excited by that if there were somebody else competing for it with those axes. Like if there were Sid or Kane not Sid, Cecil or Kane, and especially Cecil, who doesn't have any good swords. Cecil could use those axes.
Oh my! So Eizan hits the jackpot with a D-Mist here. This is not a bad spot for D-Mist to be in either. It's a relatively slow spot.
Yeah, and this is very interesting because, you know, this boss spot is available even before having the Earth Crystal. So this is a very interesting find.
It is. We'll see what ends up happening. Khobahi doing his check over here. Invenerable looks like he's getting ready to dive the tower, which is going to be an interesting play on him.
Yeah, he's a bit low level for it, but I'm sure he can make that work. You know, he knows what he's doing. I mean, all of these players know what they're doing, so I assume if they're running into a fight, they have a means in their head of being able to deal with most possibilities.
Dusty reset out of his fight, looks like.
Oh, I see why. He is coming back, and he is going to a shop to buy illusions. Okay. I would have thought he'd be buying coffins, but not. He might be misremembering the shop because coffins will again just wipe that fight out.
Okay, here is a blue-robed guy in the top of Lower Babel, but I don't know if this is one of the glitched out.
Yeah, it
colors.
Could be Gauntlet, it might not be, because the Mylons do also turn blue here.
Yep, Mylan.
Okay, this was fine.
I really prefer his name in the later versions, Scarmiglione.
Yeah, but you know what? Character limits, they're a pain.
You're not wrong. Oh, and Eisen finishes his D-Mist. So, nice fight there with only 3 people.
So I'm sure he'll be running back to save and heal up. Then we'll see who's waiting for us here.
There's Dusty. He is using coffins on these guards.
And life glitching.
Yeah, that life glitch is always nice. It'll get him a nice little extra chunk of XP.
Yeah, Tella won't get it, but meh.
So you're right there first. We have a duplicate Edward.
Well, we'll see if there's anybody new inside.
Also, we already knew that Golbez was kind of a pansy to begin with because he was only in the optimum spot. Clearly, he could only take over Edward.
Oh, Sue's tied up here.
Oh my god! You get a white mage! You get a white mage! Everyone gets a white mage!
Well, that's a very interesting find. Because honestly, with this party, it's possible to go full reflect. It's possible to hit her out with Artemis arrows and berserk her up.
I think at this point we're looking at probably reflect strats, gonna bounce a bunch of whites off them, have Edward throw some cure 3s once we can get there. If I had to guess anyway. I mean, this is very, very interesting. I know my preferred party setup. I really like just Zerg strats, just throwing some berserks up and just letting the guys go. This is the exact opposite of that.
Yeah, and I'm with you right there. I do like to, just plow through 0 with, as many berserkers as I can handle. But we'll see what happens, because I'm expecting some pretty high grinds with the low hit point 3/5 of the party there.
Oh no, Margaret, no. Berserker. No, go to your room. Oh, and we have another lunar boss. And it's the Wyvern in the tower. Oh
That's
no!
fine. That's possibly the best or the second best place to find Wyvern, and we're seeing Rutwai right there.
Tella dodged it. Whoa.
Tella, of all people, dodged it. We're getting the team back up, and look at the size of that nuke. It's enough to kill him, but that's a tiny nuke. Not sure I would waste this much time rezzing everybody though. Just there's like hardly any hit points here. Just start hitting him. There we go.
Yeah, gotta do it that way. Try to keep him up, but there's really not a whole lot of experience to be had there, so you're not missing out on much.
Yeah, it's a joke boss. And yeah, that, one of the 2 best places to find Wyvern. And Eizan has defeated Mylon, so we will see what else was waiting. It's the package.
That just became that much worse for Eizan. He found his last 2 characters that he needed. There's literally no point in the package, although you have to make sure to be careful which way you enter now, because remember, he also just killed the D-Mist, and he's going to want to turn that in soon.
That's true, so We're just gonna do the Baron check right here, and then we'll probably head straight over to check out that Mist Dragon.
Both Khobahi and Dustygriff are then now following Eizan and doing that. Meanwhile, Inven ends up finding it was a sword at the top of the tower, and it's the Luca key.
And nope.
He's like, nah, brah, I'm done.
And yeah, like when you're presented with 2 long checks like that, you know, in a party with a state like this, you're gonna go for the one that can give you more characters. So we'll see what the Mist Dragon has once the Lunar Dragons are down.
Eizan is getting beat up here quite a bit.
Yeah.
Inven also going to Zot has the Earth Crystal, so he's going to be joining the other 3 runners. So they will be all fully decked out with their parties after they complete this run.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what everybody does with their parties, because we do have options.
Alright, Khobahi is on his Mist Dragon fight right now, and Dusty is going to be shortly behind.
And then Invenerable bringing up the rear, while Eizan finishes off the D-Lunars.
Now, to be fair, it looks like Inven is bringing up the rear, but at this point in time, remember, he's already cleared out the tower. So he has already done that, while none of the other runners have done that.
Yes, so we will see what happens there with, you know, this may be how they're coming into Zot, but it certainly doesn't say a whole lot about what everybody else is doing for the rest of the race. And Penguinator and chat bringing up a great point here that Eizan is not going to need to spend that time with the hook checking out that Evelyn character. And the shop, of course, we all know is a dud check with nothing but vampires.
All right, Rydia's mother, what do you have for us? Is it anything to keep us from going to Luca Cave? Rat Tail.
Interesting.
More fetch quest goodness.
Well, you know, it's another key item. It's one we can follow up on right now, so we'll see what this means for us.
I mean, it's really interesting. We've gotten a lot of key items up to this point in time. There's been quite a bit of value here. I'm just counting. Let me see. Crystal Hook, Earth, Package, Sand Ruby, Magma Tower, Legend, Rat Tail, and there's the Twin Harp. That's 9 or 10 right there.
Yeah, so this makes my expectation that we're going to see some really high grinds for these low hit point characters. You know, I'm really expecting we're going to see that. Everything's lining up to give us, aside from us not having the Darkness Crystal, everything's lining up to show us a fairly lengthy D-Machine grind to get everybody built all the way up.
Well, at this point, I mean, we have this. We have 2 chains kind of ahead of us that we've seen, at least from the commentator's perspective. We have the Twin Harp chain, and we have the Luca key, which Inven already found in the tower. So it could kind of be down either one of those rabbit holes. Luca key Twin Harp is probably more attractive to this party right now.
Yeah, it probably is. It's a little hard to tell. But yeah, all of our damage is going to be coming from the physical, so there should be no problem dealing with this boss up here. And you know what? Everybody likes seeing the Twin Harp in play.
This is true. I think traditionally when we get there, we're going to try to quiet down so everyone can hear what the music is, just to start off with. Just because, you know, we want to see what the music is and see how great it is. It's one of the many Easter eggs in the free Enterprise Randomizer is a MIDI'd harp version of some of your favorite RPG songs kind of throughout everything. So we'll see what we end up getting here.
Yes, and Aizan's going to be coming up on that. Oh, taking a save real quick. And of course, the initial cutscene is in fact not randomized, so we can hold our jokes on that because no, this isn't.
No, it's not.
Not
Unfortunately,
yet.
not like if you get to this scene and everyone has some sort of metal equipped, then everyone will be paralyzed and it'll just skip this little cutscene right here. Oh, but we get to that point.
Yeah, like a common play too is just to kill off your own party in that scene. But
All right, here we're gonna go. We're gonna see the slowest walker in the world, Bedward. And what music are we gonna see? Final Fantasy X.
oh,
PMAK fail with the shout out. Someday the Dream Will Die from Final Fantasy X. Yeah. Big shout out to PMAK fail, by the way, for being our tracker for the night. He's doing an amazing job tonight.
yeah, yeah, he has been absolutely great. First time giving it a go, but you wouldn't know from watching it.
And he transforms into an evil wall. I mean, at least you get to listen to a lot of the music right now with this kind of slow evil wall kill. And Edward's already dead.
That's kind of a shame, because, you know, Edward has a very unique way of dealing with this boss, and, you know, he's very good for certain cheese strats, but they aren't needed here.
Bard tank strats, best tank strats.
Hey, he's a very important floor inspector.
All right, and our key item will be Eizan. Show us. Wow, wow.
It's a protect ring. Good equipment, and it looks like everybody's pursuing this rabbit hole, so it's not, you know, it's not actually a relative time loss. It's an absolute time loss, but relative to everybody else, looks like everybody's pursuing that, and
Yeah, and that's one thing to keep in mind, and I've said this about any randomizer, and it goes for Final Fantasy IV, it goes for Legend of Zelda Link to the Past, any randomizer you do, when you're in this sort of race situation, it's not necessarily about the gambles you make, it's about doing something that your fellow racers do not do, and saving time there. If everyone's following this rabbit hole, it's really not much of a time loss, all things said. If someone had followed that Luca key, though, or managed to kill one of the other bosses, then we might have a different story in our heads.
Yeah, but, just the nature of our party is sort of funneled everybody into this particular routing, because, honestly, we've got characters who are good, we've got characters who are not good, but we've got characters that can't hold up to a lot of punishment yet, so going this particular route, it makes a lot of sense, because they're going for what they know they can take.
I mean, it's a fair critique. And here's the deal, and this is actually good news for Invenerable, who looks like he's been bringing up the rear, quote-unquote, through most of this. However, we have to remember that he's already done the tower. So while Khobahi and Dustygriff will finish off this musical journey, Eizan is now just starting the tower. So Invenerable's going to be finished with this and on to really his next decision much sooner than anyone else.
Yeah, and what a decision it is, honestly, because none of the options look good. We've got karate and Bagan in summon monster bosses. We have the fastest boss in the game at the vanilla evil wall slot. It's not a good situation to be in. We don't have a good means of getting levels yet because we don't have a Darkness Crystal, we don't have Sirens for sale. So the usual answer to a lot of bad boss situations, we don't have good answers to these problems.
Absolutely not. So here's Eizan getting ready for his Mylan Z fight.
And this should be pretty simple to deal with here.
Both Inven and Khobahi on Evil Wall at the same time. Dustygriff going to shortly join them.
And I do see Skella. Our wonderful restreamer is, of course, giving you all a reprise, so...
And so it's become a bit of a meme in the community. When Scala rolls the seed, which she did this evening, everyone kind of pays attention because it's going to be something special. And Scala, you did not disappoint again. Thank you.
Yeah, you have outdone yourself tonight.
It is worth pointing out that, we have a party of, two white mages, Tella, which is Tella, Edward, and then probably the worst melee fighter out of all of them that we could possibly get in Sid. I am struggling to find a worse party than this right now.
Well, we do have Rosa, so we could do worse than that. We could have Rydia. I know Nightdew's watching. I'm not slandering Rydia, but she would not be a big help in this seed. So that's probably the one way we could make this party worse.
I don't know. We've gotten Dragon Whips and Heroines.
That's true, but...
Yeah, okay, we'll put it this way. It's debatable whether or not we can make this the absolutely custom-built worst party ever. For a randomizer to generate this and say, here you guys, this is a race seed. Whoever does worse in this seed is eliminated from the tournament.
And you know what? If we're looking for a test of skills, because this is absolutely going to be a test for everybody. You know what? These are bad characters they've been given. Every single one of them can be made to work. So this is a question of who can make this party work better than the others.
Oh, Invenerable is making the play. Sealed cave.
Makes sense, actually. And you know what? I was talking about options. Let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Is he gonna take some doors along the way? Because they give good experience.
They do. I don't know if it doesn't look like he's going to, at least as of yet. I think he's going to see if this item is going to be worth it yet, and then backtrack through if he needs to.
Yeah, I mean, nobody likes door grind. It's slow, it's a pain in the butt. But at this point, it's this or clappers. And I know he's been practicing on clappers, but, ew.
Yeah, clappers wouldn't be terribly attractive right now. And it's a low, like, you have to run into it, and it's really difficult to get it to spawn, I believe.
Yeah, it's not a grind you choose, it chooses you.
Well, either way, Inven is going to be the first one to show us what value we have hidden here in the sealed cave. Eizan is finishing up his tower. Dusty's in there. Khobahi's up there. Oh, my goodness.
And PMA in chat.
Oh.
Go. Oh no.
So, that is technically go mode, guys.
Yeah, if Inven can get away with this, and
Oh no.
this is workable, I think.
Oh, I was gonna say, try to get Edward to hide and stay hidden through the explosion.
But no, this is fine. Look at that, he's only hitting Tella for 11. And we got a Moonveil. Yeah, this is go
Yeah,
mode.
we'll be alright, yeah.
So Mom Bomb here is fine. So to answer PMA, who asked in chat about what Clapper grind is, most people who are watching this at this point will be familiar with D-Machine grind, which is you go into the Giant of Babel, you manipulate up a searcher, which will trigger summoning D-Machines, which give a lot of experience points. Clapper grind works the same way, only it's worse in every possible way. There's conjurers in the caves of summon monsters. They'll consistently summon the same monster. One of them is Clappers, which is a dragon-like monster. They give about 8,000 experience each before doubling. So, if you've got nothing else, and you have a source a week, you can grind on those. But, no, we found darkness. Eizan is also following up that direction. And as we're seeing, like, this is a very fightable boss here.
Yes, it is. It's here comes Mom Bomb's explosion phase.
And Shin40k asking how much Mom Bomb has. The way Mom Bomb works is a little bit special. She has the slots hit points plus 9,000. So if you can get through all of the slots hit points plus 9,000, you can skip phases and not get the explosion. Otherwise, you're gonna get the explosion.
Inven does use the hourglass, of course, so he'll be able to get this down. And I imagine he'll be wanting to get the rest of his party up to gather in some of this sweet, sweet experience.
Possibly, but with darkness in hand, it's not nearly as important because we've got grinds.
This is true. Both Dusty and Khobahi on their way down. Looks like Dusty is finishing off Wyvern right now.
Yeah, so everybody will be getting their Luca key, and we will see if they head in to join Eizan and Invenerable, or if they beat their head against the dead-end brick walls of the summon monsters.
And we mentioned this a few times in this particular stream, but it's worth noting with this party and everyone's relative low HP, I mean, the D-Machine grind, we're going to need to grind up quite a bit higher than I think we normally would in this particular seed. Like, we're looking, I would say, 55 upwards to 60 for just to make sure you have enough HP to get through here.
Yeah, that's about when Edward gets enough hit points to survive an unnerved Big Bag. Looks like Invenerable is prepared for that eventuality because he did finish with Edward dead. Looks like Eizan's preparing to do the same thing too. So we can take advantage of the catch-up experience points at the end of any lengthy D-Machine fight, and that will double or triple the actual amount they receive, so they're going to end at very, very high levels. And Khobahi coming up through... Yes, everybody's making a Luca key play, because nobody wants to fight Yang or Bagan.
Night Dew with an interesting question. Do we think any of them are going to check for Sirens hoping for a King Ryu grind? That's possible. If this was a single elimination, like win or go home, I could see someone taking the gamble on that. But because we're looking at the more conservative strats where the last place winner goes home, I would imagine they're going to stick with the safer gamble of not going up to the moon and not wasting that time for that, if I had to bet.
I mean, we haven't found a path, so they're all going to be going through the moon no matter what. I think with the number of levels we're going to need to make this party viable, I'm expecting D-Machines from everybody with a better party. Because we do have hourglasses, we can do Ryu's safely, but that's a grind that you... It's better for a better party.
Absolutely. And Invent did buy 60 either ones.
Yeah, we're gonna long haul this D-Machine, I think.
So I'm gonna make note of when he actually gets his D-Machine fight, just because I want to know how long Invent's gonna spend on this.
Yeah, because we're gonna take quite a few of these. Dusty's doing door grind, which is interesting. I don't think he's been to the boss yet, so that might be why.
Yeah, I think he's worried that this is going to be a hard boss at this point, so he is stepping up there and trying to gain a few levels before going there.
Yeah, and you know what? That's not a bad idea. Just unfortunately in this case, this is as close to free as this boss slot gets.
So here, what we're going to see is Invent is going to save. He's going to rest up. He's going to switch to encounters on, and then he's going to do a hard reset, which will refresh kind of where everything needs to be in order for him to set up that D-Machine grind.
Yes, because it is actually very easy to determine when you're going to encounter the correct boss, the correct monster, to get your grind set up. And if you're wanting to learn how to do it yourself, you know what? Invenerable himself has done a fantastic video guide you can look into. That will be on his channel. And while we're at it, you know, you should, if you like seeing this game, you know, you should be following all of these racers. They're all fantastic players. And they're doing a lot of really amazing play for everyone here tonight.
EizanTayama is the second one out. He is going to go here directly, and I do believe Inven has the fight he wants right now. Khobahi, in the last portion of the Mom Bomb fight, gets his hourglass off.
And looks like Dusty was just taking a couple of those doors for a quick bootstrap, which, you know what, not bad. But not a bad idea. So we'll see how that if that manages to expedite the fight at all, because this is a fairly lengthy combat.
That it is. Alright, so Khobahi just finishes, and it does also look like he's setting up his Edward for a slingshot as well.
Yeah, it makes sense. We've got, you know, we've got as decent circumstances as possible for making Edward viable. You know what? We've got good archer equipment. We've got the means to get him to a really high level. Why not take advantage of it? Because how often do you get to play a scene where you get to make Edward good?
Alright, so here's the grind with weak. And, yep, gonna throw some life potions.
Yep. And he's gonna be at that for a while.
Yep, he's... Okay, so he's at an hour 10 or so.
If Eizan is also heading over there.
Yeah, here's the difficult part. Inven didn't move weak to the top of Tella's spellcast list. So I wonder if that's going to cost him as the fight goes on.
Maybe, maybe not.
It is worth noting that he did buy what scientists like to call a boatload of ethers.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the official, the SI prefix for that number of ethers is a heckin' boatload of ethers.
Yep, I read the research article on it. New unit of measurement. Heckin' boatload.
Yeah. Khobahi pulling up the whale right now. I expect very shortly we're all gonna have a big group hug in the giant between all players.
I mean, if anything, that just shows the quality of runners all four of these guys are. They're all, you know, within 5 to 10 minutes of each other at the most, and this seed has not been kind in any capacity.
Yeah, like, the level of play we're seeing here is astounding. Everybody's made basically the same decisions. They've all been playing basically as well as each other. There's been very little variance, some order of operations, but that's about it. Like, Khobahi's buying hourglasses, and he's going to the moon.
Oh, is he? Ooh. This might be interesting. Gonna check out what we have here. Maybe hoping for sirens?
And if not, you know, even without them, if he does his grind outside of that last save point, you know, if he finishes up early, there's sirens on the moon.
What is this? I don't even.
Oh, ho, ho. this could be the thing that wins the seed for Khobahi, because when Khobahi finishes up, he's going to be much closer to Zeromus than any other player.
I mean, if anything, it will... I mean, it was risky. I don't know if he overtakes Invenerable or Eisen. He makes it much closer, I think. That was a gamble I don't know if I could take, because if it wasn't there, then he and Dusty are right neck and neck at the last place spot. Man.
Yeah, like, everything in this seed to me has been screaming D machines, as I've kind of been harping on along the whole way. But we'll see how this goes. Like, this is not a great party for the Ryu grind, but we've got weak, we can make it work, and with the hourglasses, it'll be safe, so...
Yeah, and it's worth noting, if Dustygriff does that check as well, he's right back in this.
Yeah, this is really interesting.
How many strong weapons does he have, Pushwall? He doesn't need strong weapons. He has weak Patella.
Yeah, you can weak dragons.
Dusty going to the moon as well. He's... Oh, man. We have ourselves a race. Team Feymarch with the goods.
Yeah, this is the battle of the grinds here, because, you know what? We're seeing two similar but different grinding methods here, and we're gonna see which one finishes us up first and gets us to 0 first.
Naidu also making a good point. There's no free Zeromus with this party. I mean, unless you're like level 80 with everyone in this party, there's no freebie Zeromus fight.
And Inven is finishing up. We're going to see if this is just a level check or if he's going to be satisfied. $29, $25 levels on everybody. Let's see what we've got.
Oh man, we're in the upper 50s to upper to mid 50s. Is that good enough for you? I don't know if that's good enough.
He's warping out. I think if you're willing to let Tella and Edward drop, which, let's be fair, we should all be willing to let Edward and Ella drop. That's not the names of those characters. Edward and Tella drop. This should be doable.
Yeah, I mean, the gear has not been great in any capacity. We have no adamant armors that we found whatsoever. We found a single protect ring. Man.
Yeah, I mean, the gear situation is not great.
Party situation is not great. The gear situation is not great. Nothing about this seed is great. Of course, this means it's another wonderful Skull and Kitty special.
It absolutely is, and oh, he's checking Hummingway. He's gonna see those sirens there. We'll see if maybe he pulls one or two on the way out. Nope. Or oh, he's picking up some ethers.
Wait. He's picking up more ethers?
They're ether 2s. There's a difference.
I mean, yes, it makes logical sense, but Inven, buddy, I think you have a problem. We need to gather you here. We need to have an intervention with your ether problem.
This message has been brought to you by Etherholics Anonymous. But we will see what happens here.
Yeah, I mean, this is still anyone's race. Inven, Khobahi is now doing the King Ryu grind right now, refreshing Tella's magic while he can.
Yeah, this is gonna be really interesting. I think this should be doable on Invenerable's side. I'm seeing chat is a little more dubious. But again, I think if you're willing to let the more marginal party members go, like really all you need here are Rosa and Sid, and they will get the job done. And he's doing it far enough ahead of everyone else that he doesn't need to do this fight fast. He just needs to do it right.
Well, I mean, let's see what ends up happening. I mean, I'm still worried about his party, I'm not going to lie, but if he's using reflex strats, it does effectively have the number of HP he has, because you're not going to get that refill. So that's something that he has going in his favor. Khobahi is going to be getting close to finishing up his grind soon, I think.
Yeah, looking at those totals, a few more fights, but not a lot more. And Eizan is wrapping up now.
Oh my god, I see 59 levels for Edward.
See, that's the kind of slingshot I was talking about.
That's kind of what I thought was going to happen.
Oh, we're berserking Rosa.
What?
He's got the Artemis arrows on her. You looking for the heroine? You still have that on forum, or did you sell it? Yes, we're gonna move that heroine over, I bet.
Guys, Edward didn't skip leg day this time. He's swole, brah.
And Invenerable, yep, he is setting up for the Berserker Rosa. Wow, nearly 3,000 hit points on Eizan's Edward.
This is silly.
Chat didn't believe me when I said that you could make him good. You can make him good. 3 in Gang 3 asking if it's too much to ask for Berserker Edward? No, I think we're gonna see Berserker Edward.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Zerk Edward as well. Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to get close to that power level. The rest of his party is kind of at the same place that Inven is. So I think Eizan had a more successful slingshot overall than Inven did.
Yeah, but we'll see how this goes. Oh, is Edward still using the initial harp on his inside? That's gonna be something.
Ew. And Dusty is doing a similar King Ryu grind here. Man, this is all going to be close. This Zero Miss fight for these 4 runners is, I'm going to liken to a game of golf. It's not about the good plays that you make during the Zero Miss fight, it's about avoiding any misplays. Because if you misplay with this party, he's going to kill you, and anyone will be able to overtake you.
Yeah, like nobody is so far ahead that a wipe to 0 at this point would push pretty much anybody into 4th at this point, even behind the 2 grinders still.
Alright, so here's Inven showing us Zero Miss's true colors.
And whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
Ha ha, Natomus.
It's you! Oh, one of the Mario Paint ones.
Yeah, Mario Paint.
I was a Sega kid. Oh, we'll see if he gets swatted like a bug.
Alright, meanwhile, Dusty has killed off his Tella. What?
Probably for anchoring purposes.
Oh, right. So he's not using weak strats at this point, actually.
You know what? He's still getting the kills in very efficiently. So, you know what? If it works, who's gonna complain?
Using Rosa to Zerk himself and just letting those arrows fly. Wow. That's actually really efficient on Dustygriff's part.
Yeah, that's really slick. And I do want to share this fun fact from Skellakitty, who of course does the vast majority of these boss sprites. She did make sure to include the little bullets that the gnat shoots out just for this sprite. And you know what? They're there. They're really cute.
Alright, Khobahi looks like he's finished up and is on his way. Oh man, this is going to be an amazingly close race. Inven getting the nuke on Sid, which is what you want to do. This is, guys, buckle in. The last couple minutes of this race are going to be amazing.
Yeah, this is tense. This is really close. It's really going to come down to who has the best Zerobus fight at this point.
Tella, first one down, taking a dirt nap for Inven. So it is worth noting, only Khobahi changed it to their colors.
And we'll see if that gives them the edge in luck, because, you know what, I totally understand the other players found the team colors to be a little eye-searing and couldn't really play on it. So we do have a gentleman's agreement between them all to not go with that, but you know what, we'll see if that little bit of team spirit pays off.
All right, so yeah, they are entering side by side. Dustygriff is going to be the last one. He's zerking, and then we'll see how much more grinding he does.
Yeah, I'm looking at his hit point totals. I'm hoping he doesn't take more than, you know, anything else at this point. We're gonna need to see this fight go south for it to stay in this race.
That's one way to do it. Oh man.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's rough, Inven. That was a high roll big bang, plus followed up almost immediately with a virus. Only Sid survived that.
Looks like he's recovering, getting the heals off, getting some lives off. This may be savable. And the fact that the black hole came in when it did, that's just a little bit of extra time, so he's got Rosa back up.
Meanwhile, it looks like Khobahi also using reflect strats at this point.
Yeah, I'm doing a huge number on Zero with the reflected whites. And looks like we made a satisfying enough recovery on Invenerable's side. And Eizan is also reflecting. Oh, yeah, reflecting.
Yeah, I mean, this is just so close. Dusty's right there. This is who makes the first mistake. Otherwise, this will be Inven, Eizan, and Khobahi moving on. Dusty's right on their tails, though. He is not holding up at all.
Yeah, he is wrapping up final prep now, about to head on in.
Alright, Khobahi's got his 3 alive that are doing work. Eizan has a magic's become invalid. He does have a dead Tella and Forum. Swoleward is staying out.
Yeah, it looked like he didn't have any good weapons for Edward, so I'm wondering what the plan is there. The plan seems to be some chemist.
We have some dead Sids here as well.
This may be the opening that Dusty needs.
Well, and Porum didn't survive there. Oh, man.
Oh.
Here comes a full big bang here for Eizan. Oh, he'll be fine. Unless it's a high roll damage to kill off Porum.
No. He's good.
Khobahi's even in trouble here. Man, everyone... And this is the thing, everyone felt rushed to get there as quickly as they can.
Yeah, like, everybody went in the very moment they felt they were ready. And yeah, all it's gonna take is one wipe, and all of these parties are one bad roll away from a wipe. And Dusty's back in this race.
Yeah, this is absolutely amazing. This is as great of a race as you're going to see. This, I don't know if this has happened in this league yet, where all 4 runners are on the final boss at the same time.
Yeah, we've seen... Oh, and Khobahi's down to 1 party member standing. Rosa with not many hit points.
With a big bang coming in.
She's got enough. She should be able to take it. And it's good. Black hole, so he's got some more time. She's gonna do the life on Porum. Gonna try and recover. Nobody's reset, which is interesting because a lot of times you'll see. Oh,
Invenerable with the flash. GG pulls it off.
wow!
From the edge of ruin. An official time of 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 44 seconds. All 3 of these runners are probably thinking to themselves, I'm close. But they don't know how close the others are as well. Oh, man. And Khobahi resets.
Oh, my God.
Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, and other folks in here, Khobahi was undefeated in the first round of 32. He swept straight through everyone. First place in every single race he did.
Yeah, this is the first... this is the first, wow. Like, yeah, it's the first time that he's even been approached so far in this league. And he's going back to grind, which, I do not blame him for, but this is going to lose him the race.
Well, I mean, it's not over yet. I mean, Dusty's at a higher level, and he's been, just kind of going to town at this, and is really kind of rock steady at this point in time. Eizan's had to recover a little bit. His Swoleward's hiding automatically now.
Not automatically. He is a boss, so you do have to hide manually, but, still, pulling Edward out for emergency heals is a perfectly good strat. But, wow, we will, see how this goes with Khobahi, because if neither of these other 2 wipe, this is it for Khobahi, and he will be the second of the, first place, of the original Final 4 to be eliminated. But it looks like it was just one more, reuse fight. So we'll see if that's enough to get him through this fight fast.
All right, Eizan's still working at it with these reflex strats. Dusty's really kind of playing it safe, keeping only 3 people alive, alive, doing his run buffering and healing as he needs to, and then reflex strats, and then he's fine.
Yeah, just play it safe.
Eizan!
This is recoverable. That's recoverable. Black hole hit. Rose is back up.
Oh, and joining us now is Invenerable. GG. So...
Hi.
So you'll forgive us if we're not going to ask you a ton of questions right away? Because literally everyone else is on the boss at the same time that you were.
I figured as much. As soon as I saw that darkness crystal, I'm like, well, maybe late to the party here, but let's just overgrind and try to make sure we don't get last place.
Well, yeah, and you were the first one actually to Zemus, so... and it felt like you were almost a little bit under-leveled there for a second. Eizan leveled up a little bit more on D-Machine, however... Both Khobahi and Dustygriff found Sirens on the moon, so they were able to do a King Ryu grind.
Oh yeah, I saw the Sirens when I got up to the moon, but even when I unlocked the well, I told myself, even if Sirens are for sale there, I want to do the D-Machine grind. I already know where the Ethers are for sale in Vitasia, where I'm unlocking the well anyway, and with this dream team right here, I wanted all the levels. And I nearly did a few more D-Machines, but Sirens weren't even in the equation for me running with this squad.
Speaking of, we were going to ask you, we're glad you're here today because we're your friends and we care about you. We think you have an ether problem.
And let me just interrupt really quick, because we do have a second place finisher. It is EizanTayama, coming in at an official time of 1:35:11. GG to you, Eizan.
So the race is now on between Khobahi and Dustygriff. These two runners, now Dustygriff came into Zemus last, but Khobahi did have to reset out to do a little bit more of a grind. We'll see. Dusty has been in his individual fight longer.
And Khobahi's still a lower level, just comparing their hit point totals.
Well, I don't think I have much to say other than, curse you, Scala Kitty. Can you not roll a nice one? Just one time, Scala.
She has. She totally has. Just not when you guys, not when elimination is on the line.
She said you to listen to the nice music. She reminded you the Dwarf Castle is good. She's helped that reveal that you do have an ether problem.
That's true. The Protect Ring... I'm like, I wanted to reset back to my save point at Troya, but then I'm like, no, need every bit of defense we can get against those big bangs. But hey, love y'all. I'm gonna dip out and watch this spine-tingling conclusion. Yes. And yeah, I'll see y'all in the next playoff match. Take care, y'all.
Yes, GG, and get some breath. Catch that breath.
There's a bottle of Bacchus with my name on it in the kitchen, so...
You earned it.
See y'all later.
And back to the fight. Still between Khobahi and Dusty, and this is tense. Khobahi, the formerly untouched first place, clinging to his life in this tournament. Is he gonna make it, or is Dusty's long, slow haul through this fight gonna be what pulls it off?
I mean, Dusty's just been kind of plinking away at this. Slow but steady. He's getting his attacks off on Sid. He's black holing. I mean, he's recovering from the black holes fine. He's doing slow and steady wins this race. And joining us now is EizanTayama. GG, Eizan.
Thank you.
I tell you what, I love the slingshot strat with level 71 Edward. He got swole, brah.
Yeah, that wasn't intended, but it kind of helped out because he played a good factor in my C fight.
Yeah, like he was definitely a big help there. And we've got our third place finisher. It is Dustygriff, coming in at 138.07. GG Dusty.
the come from behind victory from Dustygriff. GG, Dusty. My goodness.
And wow. And it does look like Kobahi's gonna finish this out, which, you know, he's right there. Yes, Eizan, how about that protect rig?
Well, it might have been what kind of helped me taking some of those big bangs.
That's very true.
Yeah, this was one of those interesting seeds where there was just no gear anywhere, and the party you were given was limited in what they can do, to say the least.
Every big bang, I was just hoping for no high rolls, so...
Ooh, yeah. Of course, with that much grinding, what, you know, that gave you a fair bit more wiggle room than I think anyone else. But yeah, wow.
Yeah, and this was an amazing seed. To paint you a picture of how close it was, at one point, all four of you were in the Zemus fight at the exact same time.
And that one point was like several minutes long.
I'm guessing everyone else did reflect strats too.
I think it already pretty much hybrided it. You know, we had some attacks from like from Sid and from Rosa, but I think nobody didn't do reflects.
And joining us now, the come from behind king, Dustygriff, making it from the play-in, now advancing to the next round. How you feeling, man?
Shaky. that was quite the seed. That was the Scala Kitty special for sure.
Well, you know what? You gave us Boat Boys. She gives you this.
Absolutely. This is my payback. It's true. You get what you sow. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and I'll say this much: for most of the race, you know, everyone was pretty well on the similar tracks. You know, I would say Inven was probably a little bit ahead of everyone in terms of the routing, and you know, you kind of had two different paths to go. You could follow through with the tower key into the twin harp and things like that, or you could do the Luca key dive. Most people followed, I mean, you went a few different areas, but you all eventually converged on the same spot. Dusty, you were about only 5 to 10 minutes behind at that point in time. You and Khobahi went up and found the Siren, so you didn't do the D machine grind. You went up to the King Ryu, and you just stayed there just a little bit longer. Khobahi, you were the last one to enter Zemus by a good minute or two while everyone else was fighting him. But because you had extra levels, Khobahi actually had to reset out of it.
Oh wow. Yeah, I was playing that. The grind's super safe just because I knew I was gonna just do a 2-person reflex strat basically, and I knew it was gonna be a slog one way or another. So I wanted to do as much prep as I could to make sure that Porum or Rosa didn't die from a bad bing bang. But that was rough. There was a few missteps in that I'm not very proud of, but it worked out in the end. But like Ogo kind of got me at Dwarf, and trying a quick grind on the door at Luca cost me like 2 minutes. But other than that, it was pretty. It was kind of linear in a way, but it was very slow scene.
Yeah, it was. It already ended up doing pretty much the same things. Little variances, but yeah, slow, steady slog through a mud of bad bosses, bad characters.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone can call this seed friendly in any capacity whatsoever, but, you know, what was your feeling? What was both of your guys' feelings going through this seed? At what point did you realize, thanks, Scala?
I think it was the. I'm trying to think. I think it was when I saw Edward in Eblon. And I should have just reset out at that point or exited, but I was just like, I'm just gonna get it over with. I'll take this guy now and go with it. But then I was like, thinking in my head, I was like, this is as good as it gets in this seed.
Pretty much for me, when Sid survived the Mega Nuke with 30 HP.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a close one. He was getting some really high damage rolls off on you, Eizan. I mean, this was a seed that I think I'm happy to say thank you guys for running this for our amusement. A, because it was wildly entertaining to see the different things that you guys had to overcome and deal with and still complete the game. And two, completing a seed that hopefully we will never have to repeat again. So I don't ever have to play it.
Fingers crossed no one else has to deal with that anymore, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you guys put on a fantastic showcase of why you've gotten this far into the league, because, you know what, great play by everybody, and just amazing to watch.
Well, as we finish up here, it looks like Khobahi might be getting... Oh, I don't know. He might be getting close.
I hope he's getting close. Oof. This has been really rough for him, even after the additional grind.
Well, even after the additional grind, he kind of left himself in a position where, he didn't even level up quite back to where Dustygriff was. So unfortunately, it's taken a little bit longer. Dusty had kind of a good rhythm going, slow and steady, won the race, and he did it due to some bad rolls. And poor him at that middle spot. I don't know I think that might be hurting his agility quite a bit, actually.
It's hard to tell. I don't have her agility tables memorized. I assume he knows what he's doing with putting her there, but I didn't check her agility. Getting his walls back up at least, so... Whew.
It's one of the tough decisions I was finding of the grind was to keep Tella up or not, to keep weakening, or to just use arrows.
Yeah, and I am hearing that at this level she should be around 28, so Porum should be fine there. And there we go. There's the flashes. We have Khobahi finishing with an official SRL time of 1:46.34. GG to you, Khobahi, and fantastic work.
Yeah, and the note that Khobahi says, actually, I'll just let Khobahi. Welcome, Khobahi. You can say that yourself.
Yeah, my agility anchor for that first fight was horrid. Didn't go well.
Oh, so that's why it was 26 the anchor for the first fight?
Yes.
Oof.
And he was very close to dying, but he just kept getting those black holes off right before I got my last spell off.
That's rough.
Yeah, we knew that was rough. You did enter Zeromus third, about 2 minutes ahead of Dusty, I would say. And as soon as you reset out, we were like, oh no, that might do it. It was real close. I think every single runner came close to wiping at some point against Zeromus between this party and Big Bang rolls and not knowing exactly where to hit that grind point. You were the first to reset out, unfortunately, and sorry to say, man.
That happens. Like I said, coming into the top 16, anyone can win. Anyone can happen. The seed can happen. Congratulations to Dusty, Eizan, and Inven. Go Team Feymoch. So,
I do want to say, you are the only one that committed to the task of that horrible, ugly orange background.
I figured I was going to be. It's a little hard on the eyes, but it wasn't too bad.
Garish. That's the word you're looking for. Garish.
You know what? For choosing that to go through with that, you know what? You may not have won the seed, but you've won our hearts. But not our eyes.
Okay. Just letting everyone know there's going to be another match tomorrow night at 8:30 Eastern Time, probably right here on RPG Limit Break. Rivers McCown's Supremacy and Night Dew will be facing off. And then also on Thursday at, looks like 10 o'clock Eastern, will be El Magus, Niram, and Penguinator. We're getting close to the end here, folks. So mark your calendars for as much free enterprise as you can. These are the best of the best. There are no gimme races anymore. Everyone's good.
Yeah, like if you thought this was exciting, and I know I certainly did, you know what? You'll pay for the whole seat, but you'll only use the edge. Yeah.
And by pay, that means not doing anything because you're sitting at home?
Yes. I have a bad chair. It's broken. I can only sit.
Oh, with that, is there anything else from any of the runners before we try to wrap things up here? Okay. Big shout out again, Khobahi, EizanTayama, Dustygriff, Invenerable. If you liked what you guys saw from those folks, go ahead and give them a follow here on Twitch. Also, a big shout out to our wonderful tracker, PMAK Fail, for doing all sorts of work, Scala Kitty for doing our restream, and Neon Gray, my wonderful co-commentator. Thanks for joining me tonight and powering through even with your cold.
Oh, you know what? I wouldn't have missed this for the world. Thank you, Vitasia. Special thanks to Khobahi for, you know what, having made it this far with the best record, but losing it at this point. Fantastic play. Definitely give him a follow, because he's a great player. And I believe we are going to be heading over to the community race over on Randomizer, already in progress. So there's more free enterprise coming.
Yep. The community race going on over at Randomizer 2. Have a great one rest of the night, guys.